Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Howard County Democratic Central Committee member, Pastor Peter Spann, for our opening invocation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear God, we take this time to invite your presence into this place. As concerned defenders of democracy, tonight we stand in need of guidance and the guile to navigate the difficult waters in which we are treading. As we witness the assault on women's rights and the overturning of Roe versus Wade, with the threat of possibly more attacks from the Supreme Court on vulnerable populations. We're just a year and a half removed from an attack on our Capitol and an attempted insurrection. We're still haunted by the constant threat of mass shootings in places that used to be considered safe and provided us with a sense of community. Every day, whether at the store or the gas station, we come face to face with corporate greed and price gouging masked as inflation. And yes, we still lift up the Russian and Ukrainian conflict. Oh God, though it feels like the world is spinning out of control, we're reminded of the song we learned as children that you still have the whole world in your hands. So we come tonight, not in fear, but in faith, not cowering, but standing on our convictions, refusing to play it safe, but now more than ever ready to speak up. The scriptures remind us that faith without works is dead. So we come ready to do the work for our democracy. We come ready to stand up to those who work to tear our democracy down, ready to raise our voice against those who want us to remain silent, ready to expand our big tent so that all people feel welcome and a part of our great country. We're ready to do the work until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Help us to meet this moment, not strictly from a political perspective, but from a moral center. Let us not be overrun with thoughts of, will my candidate win the primary? Or who will be in the majority? Or how will I personally benefit from the next election? It was the poet Robert Frost who said, freedom lies in being bold. Oh God, help us to meet this moment in history with boldness. Our democracy hangs in the balance. And the question 50 years from now will not be who won the election, but what type of country, what type of world have we left for our children? What will the history books say about us? It was the late, great Congressman John Lewis that said, freedom is not a state, it is an act. It is not some enchanted garden perched high on a distant plateau where we can finally sit down and rest. Freedom is the continuous action we all must take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair, more just society. Dear Lord, help us to do our part. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Reverend Peter Spann. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, Howard County and Maryland Democrats. Welcome to the second annual Howard County Democratic Central Committee's Defend Democracy Digital Dine-In 2. My, oh my, we have a program for you. My name is Shahan Rizvi, and I am your chair for the Howard County Democratic Central Committee. Serving this role has been one of my greatest honors, one I take very seriously and do not take for granted. I also served as an at-large delegate to the DNC in 2020, where it was a tremendous honor to cast my ballot for President Joe Biden. While there are many things to celebrate this evening, and we certainly will celebrate, there is so much work to do. Democracy needs defending, and Democrats must build on the historic voter turnout of 2020 and bring it for the upcoming primary and midterm general election later this year. The Republican threat is far from over. As we speak, measures are being taken across the country to suppress voter turnout. We were all mortified and disgusted when we saw the conservative majority in the Supreme Court take down a 50-year precedent with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Needless to say, this ain't your daddy's GOP. What we have now is a fringe, extremist Republican Party that is hell-bent on dismantling all the progress Democrats have made over the decades. Women's rights are under attack, our votes are under attack, our climate is under attack, and soon our democracy will be too. Now is the time that Democrats must unite, activate, and come together, as we may very well be the salvation of our nation. We cannot and must not get comfortable. We have to fight back. Fight back by filling out your mail-in ballot if you requested one for the primary. Fight back by knocking on doors and telling a neighbor about a Democratic candidate that represents your values. Fight back by encouraging your friends to register to vote. Fight back by joining your local Democratic club so you can meet the candidates who hope to represent you. Fight back with your wallets and financially support Democratic candidates up and down the ballot. Republicans are playing for keeps. We must fight back. Luckily, our community is blessed to have the protection of great Democratic leaders here in the state of Maryland who are with us tonight, some you'll hear from, who are helping to protect the rights of Howard County citizens and all Marylanders. Howard County is blessed to be in the presence of our U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin, a patriot and hero who is the lead manager for the Trump impeachment trials. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight, and we look forward to your keynote remarks later. There are many thank yous in order for this evening. First and foremost, always I have to thank Ms. May Beal, our second chair and our fundraising chair, for the incredible job she's done tonight in organizing the efforts and meal logistics with this program. Thank you to our top level sponsor, our Defender of Democracy sponsor for this evening, Howard County Executive, Dr. Calvin Ball. Dr. Ball has been a transformative leader for county government, and we are so blessed to be under his leadership. And we look forward to his remarks later. Next, thank you to our treasurer, Double Shah, for all his efforts in handling meal orders, payments, reports, so much on the back end. Your logistical expertise is a gift, my friend, and your party thanks you for your late night sacrifices to make this event successful. Mr. Treasurer, thank you, truly. Next up, thank you to my HOCO Central Committee Executive Board, our co-chair, Ms. May Beal, our first vice chair, Herb Smith, our second vice chair, Ms. Regina Clay, our third vice chair, Jeremy Eldridge, our treasurer, Double Shah, our corresponding secretary, Mr. Gabriel Moreno, and our recording secretary, Ms. Linda Bolin. Thank you to this group since day one. They continue to support my grand delusions of growing a big tent party in creative ways. And they're always just there to put the community first, getting the party work done, all in volunteer hours. As I continue to grow in my role as your chair for the Howard County Democratic Party, I grow amazed by the talent I meet in the Maryland Democratic family, many who are women leaders. I want to thank one particular leader this evening, Madam Chairwoman Yvette Lewis, chair for the Maryland Democratic Party, for her incredible leadership and amazing job in having our state party prepared for the battle to come in November. Madam Chair is like the 21st member of our 20-person Central Committee. The time she makes for Howard County, despite her busy schedule across the state, continues to impress me. We just thank her so much for her continued partnership, and we look forward to your remarks later, ma'am. Thank you, Maryland Democratic Party, for your generous sponsorship tours this evening, all for the benefit of Howard County Democrats. Lastly, I have to thank the former Maryland Democratic Party chair, my good friend, Mr. Terry Lierman, an incredible Maryland Democrat, a strong supporter of Howard County Democrats, and always one of the first folks just to always offer a helping hand. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into the program. Let's get the Defending Democracy Party started by welcoming our Congressman, Mr. John Sarbanes, our Howard County Democratic Party's 2021 Elijah E. Cummings Defender of Democracy Award winner. Congressman Sarbanes has been a strong advocate for Howard County residents, working on important initiatives such as campaign finance reform, gun law reform, expanding access to the ballot box, protecting the environment, and so much more. We also thank him for supporting us during our recent Bands Off Our Bodies rally held at the Columbia Lakefront last week. So without further ado, please welcome our representative from the 3rd Congressional District, Congressman John Sarbanes. Congressman, you out there with us, sir? All right, we'll give him another second to log in, but until then, let's keep it moving. I want to next welcome, and we'll take John after this. Please welcome Miss May Beal, our second chair, to give thank yous and recognitions to the Planning Committee. Miss May Beal, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the Defending Democracy Digital Dine-In Part 2. These are challenging times. The Supreme Court has made some bad decisions to let us know the fight is not over. For example, the insurrection, the Supreme Court overturns Roe versus Wade, ending 50 years of abortion rights for women, and that Americans have the right to carry handguns for self-defense confirms the fight for democracy never ends. I hope you will enjoy the special event we have planned especially for you. As many of you know, my name is May A. Beal, co-chair of the Howard County Democratic Central Committee and the chair of this extraordinary event tonight. I have the pleasure of thanking members of the fundraising committees for their time and efforts to ensure the success of our fundraiser, and to thank all of our participants and you, our guests. Through the efforts, sincere dedication, commitment, and hard work, I feel confident that the success of tonight's event is due entirely to this committee's active and untiring participation. To the fundraiser committee members, I wholeheartedly thank each of you for accepting and fulfilling your committee assignments and responsibilities. I thank you for the expertise you brought to each meeting. Your experience, skills, and talents have made this event a reality. Where would we be without the extra efforts of our committee leads? I sincerely thank you for accepting your roles with the spirit and the desire to serve others. The support of each committee lead and this member is deeply appreciated. It's deeply appreciated. At this time, I would like to briefly introduce to you the special fundraising committee for the 2022 fundraiser event. The members are McNeil Brown, and raise your hand if you're around, if anybody can see him, but McNeil Brown, Regina Clay, Kim Drake, Lillian Holmes, Gabe Marino, Jahan Risby, Jackie Scott, Davos Shaw, and Peter Spann. A special thanks to our elected officials, organizations, Howard County Democratic clubs, members, and candidates for their sponsorship. This justice let us know you are intentionally defending our democracy, which is a battle worth fighting. Thank you to those of you who donated your meals. Your generosity made it possible for us to donate these dinners to the clients of Grassroots for their enjoyment tonight. Grassroots is an organization in Howard County that provides services to the underserved population. I would be remiss if I did not thank our dynamic keynote speaker, Congressman Jamie Raskin. He wears many hats. What many of us remember about our congressman is that he was the chief impeachment manager for the second impeachment of President Trump. Our phenomenal chairwoman of the Maryland Democratic Party, Yvette Lewis, and our very own county exec, Calvin Ball. In addition, our elected officials, our county residents, friends, guests, and enthusiasts around the state of Maryland and beyond who took time away from their busy schedule to be with us this evening. Thank you for your support and for ensuring the continued success of the Howard County Democratic Central Committee is helping to make the fight for democracy a reality. I would like to thank our restaurant partners, Shed Price, owner Ranazul, who provided the delicious meal for tonight's event. John Stoddard of the Creative Print Group for assisting with the program printing, and Terry Lieberman, former Maryland Democratic Party chair. Please charge it to my head and not my heart if I omitted anyone. Democrats recognize democracy needs defending. I ask you to raise your voice and vote on July 19th. Let your vote count. Let's go blue in 2022.
Thank you so much, May. Certainly appreciate that. Okay, next, I'd like to go ahead and move on. And for the recognition of our elected officials and sponsors for this evening. And for that, I'd like to welcome our treasurer for the Howard County Democratic Central Committee, Mr. Doubleshaw.
Thank you everyone for joining us this evening for this wonderful event. We have a lot of electeds and candidates to go through, so please hold your applause to the very end of that section. and then I'll go into the list of sponsors for this event. So first, with elected officials, thank you to Maryland U.S. Senator and run for re-election, Congressman Hollen, Maryland District 3 Congressman and running for re-election, John Sarbanes, Maryland District 8 Congressman and we're running for re-election, Jamie Raskin. And then for state of Maryland, we have our comptroller, current comptroller and running for governor candidate, Peter Fanshort, a state delegate District 46 and running for comptroller, Brooke Lierman, candidate for District 9A, Steve Bolin, just candidate for District 9A, Natalie Ziegler, current delegate for District 9B and running for re-election, Courtney Watson, current senator for District 12 and running for re-election, Dr. Clarence Lamb, current delegate for District 12A and running for re-election, Dr. Terry Hill and Jessica Fairmark, for District 13 senator and running for re-election, Guy Guzzone, state delegates for current state delegates for District 13 and running for re-election, Vanessa Atterbury and Jen Teresa, District 13 state delegate candidates, Pamela Guzzone and Becca Nieberg. And that's it for our state level. I apologize if I missed anyone that we did not know before. Now for Howard County, our great county executive and running for re-election, Kathy Ball, County Council District 1 candidate in Devine Kotum, current clerk of the circuit court and running for re-election, Wayne Roby, current Register of Wills and running for re-election, Byron McFarland, current sheriff and running for re-election, Marcus Harris, current circuit court judge and running for re-election, Stephanie Porter, circuit court judge candidate, Alicia Altamirano. And then we have our Howard County Central Committee Chair, Shahan Rizvi, who's running for re-election, Central Committee Co-Chair May Beal and running for re-election, Central Committee First Vice Chair Herb Smith, who's also running for re-election this year, Central Committee Second Vice Chair Regina Clay and running for re-election, Central Committee Third Vice Chair Jeremy Eldridge, Central Committee Member Treasurer and I'm also running for re-election, Central Committee Secretary and running for re-election, Linda Bolin, Central Committee Corresponding Secretary and running for re-election, Gabriel Moreno. And then these are the Central Committee members that exist currently and running for re-election. Marian Evan Arthurs, Dr. Leon Norris Holmes, Sean Ford, Neil Brown, Safra Hira, Jennifer Jones, Jessica Nichols, Kim Teza, Jacqueline Scott, Marian Evan Arthurs. Then our current Central Committee member outgoing, Dr. Scott Berkowitz, Josh Friedman, Peter Span, and then a Central Committee candidate for 2022 is Josh Hirsch, Felix Fashion, Colin Sullivan, Lorenzo Foxworth, James Ward Merrill, Dhruvat Murani, and that's it for elected officials and candidates. Now I'd like to say thank you to all our sponsors. County Executive Kevin Ball for being our defender sponsor. And then for the champion sponsor, District Team 12A, Senator Dr. Clarence Lamb, State Delegate Dr. Terry Hill and Jessica Fairmark. Team 13, State Delegate, State Senator Guy Guzzone, State Delegate Jen Teresa, Delegate Vanessa Atterbury, and candidate Pam Guzzone. And then Guardian sponsorship, District 1 County Council candidate Naveen Kotum, Friends of Courtney Watson, running for 9B, Maureen Evans Authors for Central Committee, Mubarak Razvi and Sadia Andrews, Steve Holland for District 9A, a group name called FemDems, Abby Hendricks, Marsha White, Sue Geckel, Deanna Peel, the Central Committee, Dr. Leon Norris Holmes, and Barsarak Zach, Friends of Rebecca Nieberg, the Maryland Democratic Party, Co-Chair May Beal, Jerome and Rhonda Jones, Shahan Rizvi, Peter Fanshort for Governor, Gary and Maureen Chandler, and our API DLC Chair and Maryland Democratic Party recently elected Deputy Treasurer Devang Shah. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shah, thank you so much. Certainly appreciate that. That's not an easy thing to do, getting through all that lineup, but we certainly appreciate you for doing it. Next up, moving along in our program, it is now my distinct privilege to welcome the leader of our Howard County Democratic Party, the county executive man with the plan, fresh off a recent endorsement from our Howard County Teachers Union. Dr. Calvin Ball has been a strong advocate for education, the environment, for small business, and public safety. During peak COVID times, it was the Ball administration that was the first out the gate to ensure every Howard Countian that wanted to be vaccinated could do so. He kept our county thriving through the worst of this pandemic and continues to promote stellar county services to ensure Howard County remains a thriving place to work, live, and play. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Howard County executive, my dear friend and big brother, Dr. Calvin Ball, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so very much for that warm introduction, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank our dynamic Central Committee for all of the work that you do and everyone who helped make this event a reality. I'd also like to thank everyone who is here because you could be doing anything else, but you are investing in our community and our future. I was thinking recently about the old parable where someone put a boiling hot pot of water on the stove, and they put a frog in that pot, and the frog immediately jumped out. And then they put a very cold pot of water on the stove. They put the frog in, the frog stayed in, and they slowly turned up the heat until the frog never jumped out. Far too often, we allow so many on the other side to slowly turn up the heat on us and our community. And we allow too many things to get past. And then we have groundbreaking events like we saw with the Supreme Court that change the course of the future of not only our community, but down to the individual level, taking away women's reproductive rights. That's unacceptable. And I know that we are in the heat of primary season. I was reflecting back, this time on the ballot is my 8th time on the ballot. I've had tough primaries, tough generals, and I want everyone on this call to remember why you are running. Why are you involved in the Democratic Party, and why you feel like it's part of your purpose to move forward in whatever office you currently hold or are seeking. We need to stay together. There are so many more Democrats than Republicans. And when they win, it is not because we are outnumbered, it's because we're out-organized and because we allow ourselves to be divided. We cannot allow small arguments and small disagreements among our party to make us lose sight of the bigger picture, because there are too many people who depend upon us for their health, safety, welfare, and education, depend upon us to help them build a better, brighter tomorrow. So again, fight your fight, have your race, but whether you win or don't win, remember why you are running. We need to come together, and we need to make sure that we hold on to this county, this state, and this nation. There are so many people today and tomorrow who are depending upon us. And so defending our democracy is a core value. We see, again, the water slowly being turned up and too many chipping away at our democracy. So please, if you've donated to a candidate who you believe in, give a little bit more. If you've knocked on a few doors for a candidate who you're working for, knock on a few more, because we need to make sure that we win during this primary season and that we win during this general election season. Our democracy, our future depends upon you. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for being here. And I hope that you enjoy this wonderful presentation and this delightful dinner.
County Executive Dr. Calvin Ball, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, sir. Thank you for everything you're doing for us. And we really look forward to delivering you a resounding victory on your reelection, sir. Appreciate you. All right, let's try this again. Congressman John Sarbanes, sir, are you out there?
Yes, can you hear me, Shahan?
Yes, sir. We can hear you just fine. Let's
All right.
welcome you the right way one more time, sir. Introducing once again, our congressman from the 3rd Congressional District, our 2021 Defender of Democracy winner from the Howard County Democrats, our friend, John Sarbanes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Shahan. I'll be brief. Sorry I couldn't get in a minute ago, but first of all, let me thank you for honoring my colleague, my buddy, my friend, Jamie Raskin this evening. So well deserved. He is fighting every single day in just about every single way to protect and preserve our democracy. And you'll be hearing a lot about that work momentarily. I just want to thank Howard County Democratic Central Committee. You are everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see you. You're making a difference. You're lighting up the place. And you're capturing and then channeling the energy we need to win here in Maryland and across the country. We have 2 responsibilities as Maryland Democrats this year. One is to our state. The county executive just talked about that. We have a new and more important responsibility than we did a week ago. Maryland, as you know, will be a safe haven state when it comes to reproductive freedom and justice. We cannot take that for granted. We've made strides, but we know that a Democratic governor will do more to provide resources for that safe haven than a Republican governor will. We know that having Democrats elected as Attorney General, as comptroller, re-electing Chris Van Hollen to the United States Senate, that all matters for our state. So we have a responsibility to our state. Howard County Dems are leading the way on that, but we also have obviously a responsibility to our country at this moment in time to try to pull ourselves back from the brink. We now know that this Supreme Court, for years to come, it appears, is going to be a rogue actor inside our system of checks and balances. And we have to contend with that. The only remedy for it is the ballot box, is to get majorities in the House and the Senate that will do whatever it takes to make a difference. If it has to do with reproductive justice, that means overcoming the filibuster. It means putting in place a national standard for how we respect the rights of women in this country. So that happens at the ballot box. If it comes to how we preserve the votes in this country, that happens by overcoming any obstacle today to remove obstacles tomorrow. So that's our task, our responsibility to the state and to the country. And let me tell you why I think we can win. I think there are 2 big motivators operating right now. The first, obviously, is this decision that came down last Friday. I think it is going to make a difference because there's a slow burn dimension to it. Every day, we're seeing new evidence of chaos in the country because of this decision. We're hearing more painful and aggrieved stories about what it will mean for people across this country. And I think those stories are going to continue to come out. Our responsibility is to share them, to raise the temperature and to channel that to the ballot box. The other thing that is happening that will be a motivator, and I'll close with this. I think that the January 6th committee, by pulling this evidence, by lifting it up, is reminding people who already knew of the danger of Donald Trump, why that is such an insidious threat to our democracy. But I also think that this new evidence is lodging somewhere in the consciousness of many other Americans, maybe ones who didn't pay as much attention before. And that in combination with President Trump not being able to help himself and putting himself on the ballot this fall by leaning in on so many races across the country. The combination of him showing up again, trying to seize America and take it away from us, and new evidence from the committee's work of how dangerous that threat is, I think can be a powerful motivator for people to get out, Democrats and independents, and that we can win these critical districts and states across the country. Howard County Dems know this. You're always in the forefront. Shahan, thank you to you and your team for everything you're doing each and every day. Let's go win this thing in November with Howard County at the forefront. I yield back my time. Thank you, Shahan.
Congressman Sarbanes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time and thank you for everything you're doing for us in Washington. Okay, next up, I am just delighted to welcome an amazing leader, our chairwoman, Yvette Lewis, chair for the Maryland Democratic Party. As I've mentioned, I can't tell that she's not a Howard County resident. You couldn't convince me because she's here all the time. She's constantly supporting our events. She's constantly coming to our programs, financially even supporting us. We just can't thank her enough for all the work she's doing. Madam Chair, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shahan. And yes, I do love the Howard County Central Committee. I really do. And I think I show it. And I love you because you love you. You love your county. You work so hard every single day. And it's so inspiring for me to be among you because I feel your energy. I feel your love. I feel your passion. And you're just the kind of Democrats that we need right now because we are in so much anguish. We are in so much trouble. And we need to be sure that we have a group of people like you to show us how to do it, even in the face of the most difficult times. You keep pushing, you keep going. And that is a model that I want every single Democrat to follow in the state of Maryland because you exemplified being a good Democrat so well. I had a wonderful speech planned and I'm gonna give it, but basically I could just say what Calvin Ball said, because what he said was so perfect. It was so on point. It was so necessary. As we get closer and closer to the primary, I know you are feeling it too. There's angst, there's tension, there are some divisions that are cropping up. And I know it's because people have this strong desire to win. And that's exactly the way you should feel. You should want to win, but you should not want to win at the cost of everything. And I want to be sure that we don't want to win at the cost of everything. And everything means friendships. Everything means relationships. Everything means a strong Democratic Party. Everything means a united party. We can't sacrifice those things because we have this strong desire to win. And I want all of us to remember that. I have said this over and over and over again. Fight as hard as you possibly can, but when this is over, one band, one song, we all sing from the same hymn book when this is over. Because if we don't, we will be facing a Republican administration for another 4 years. And if you need to know what that feels like, just close your eyes and look back. The reason your primary has gotten moved is because we had a Republican governor who drew maps, who had Republican judges rather, that threw out the maps that we had, and we had to start all over again. We're in different districts because Republican judges decided the fate of Democrats in a blue state. Right now, we cannot open ballots because your Republican governor vetoed legislation that your General Assembly members put in place so that ballots could be opened before Election Day, mail-in ballots. And he came in on the night of day, the Friday before Memorial Day, knowing that everybody was going on vacation, and he vetoed it, knowing that we had such a short window before the Election Day. We weren't going back into general session to do that, and so here we are. Oh, but it didn't stop there, my friends. When the State Board of Elections even wanted to take this up yesterday, to take it to court, to see if we could get some remedy for opening ballots, the Republican members of the Board of Elections, of which there is a majority because we have a Republican governor, they said, no, we're going to uphold the will of our governor. So now we can't even open ballots. We won't know on election night. We may not know on election night because we can't start opening ballots that are sitting on desks and in bins right now, just waiting for someone to count them. Somebody could be doing that now so that we can have results on election night. But anything to slow us down, and you know why he wants to slow us down? Because that means we can't do anything, and it gives their nominee the playing field until everything is done. They get the playing field until we finish, and they're all out there by themselves, and they're all out there defining us and defining who our nominee is going to be, and we won't even know who it is. This is what happens when we are not united Democrats. This is what happens. This is what happens to our fate, and we can control it. I have heard so many Democrats in the past say, I'm not going to vote this time. It's better for me to stand on principle. Well, your principle got your women's rights taken away from you. Gun owners have more rights than women now because you sat on your principles. You did this, Democrats. Those of you that thought that it was okay to just let this one slide because you didn't like the nominee. And here we are. One man in 4 years changed the whole course and tenor of this country for a generation, my friends. Not just for an election cycle, for a generation. And my biggest complaint about our party, as much as I love it, is that we live in the present and in the past. The Republicans live in the future. They've already planned 2024. They've already planned 2028 and so forth. And we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do in 2022. Wake up, Democrats. Wake up. Our democracy does depend on us. We are the firewall. We're the last hope. Seriously, the absolute last hope. And we have to take it upon ourselves. We have to take it upon ourselves to say enough. Enough. The fact that somebody has say over my body, which should be between me, my partner, and my God, if I believe, but not some male politician who wouldn't know his way around the female anatomy if his life depended on it. What happens with an ectopic pregnancy? Am I just supposed to die? Do you even know what it is? Do you even understand what it is? So yes, I am fired up. I am fired up and I'm intentional and I'm intense. Your work is admirable and I love you guys. And that's why I show up. Shahan, thank you for everything. Miss May, who's graduating from college with all kinds of honors and stuff at her age, which is a wonderful age. Miss May, I can't wait. I'm gonna do it just like you. I promise. You are my role model. Every year, you're going to be my role model of how to do it and how to do it well and with dignity and with grace. And I say with the utmost amount of love and respect for you. And I mean that sincerely. But to the Howard County Central Committee, stop fighting. Don't stop fighting. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give in. Run hard right now. Campaign hard. But when we win, and we are going to win, don't let it be a temporary win. How many bad election nights have we had? Aren't you just tired of that? Aren't you just tired of being sad on election night? It's time to be joyful. It's time to be joyful. We are going to elect the strongest nominee, and this that they're going through, they will be battle tested. We will elect the strongest nominee, and whoever those nominees are, they are our candidates. And for all intents and purposes, you know, we're going to make sure that we see them that way and we uplift them that way. I live by 3 words: do, be, and have. Be, do, and have. So first of all, be. We are going to be winners. We are going to be winners. Do. We're going to do all the things necessary to win. Have. Then and only then will we have what we desire. So I say that to all of you: be, do, and have, and we will be victorious in November. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Yvette Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, isn't she amazing? Aren't we so lucky in Maryland to have her state party leadership? It's just incredible. Thank you, Madam Chair, truly. Okay, next up, Senator Van Hollen, another good friend, partner to Howard County Democrats, couldn't be with us this evening, but he just wanted to celebrate in our program today. So he has left us a video. I'm going to ask our corresponding secretary, if you're out there, Mr. Gabriel Moreno, to cue that up for us, sir.
I want to start by thanking all of you, our Howard County Democrats, for being on the front lines of our democracy. You know democracy is not a spectator sport, and that all of us need to be on the election playing field. That's why you're here, and it's an honor to represent you in the United States Senate. And a special thanks to all the members of the Howard County Democratic Central Committee and everyone who helped organize this gathering. You know that as we head into the 2022 elections, we must be clear-eyed about the threats our country is facing. The Republican Party continues to be dominated by Donald Trump and the big lie, and they represent a clear and present danger to our democracy. We cannot allow them to prevail this November. To win in Maryland and around the country, we must take our case directly to the American people on a number of fronts. First, we must emphasize the important progress we have made with the passage of the American Rescue Plan. Rescue was the right name for that initiative because it quickly and effectively deployed vaccines that saved millions of lives and helped defeat the worst of the pandemic. It also helped save an economy that was in free fall. Senator Cardin, Congressman Sarbanes, and I all voted for it, but it did not get the vote of a single Republican in the House or the Senate. Yet today, all over the country, those same Republicans are attending ribbon-cutting ceremonies for important economic development projects that they voted against. We need to call them out. When the American people needed them the most, they said no. We should also emphasize the passage of the historic and transformative infrastructure modernization plan, which is already putting people to work to finally bring America's physical backbone into the 21st century. Since we passed the American Rescue Plan, jobs have come roaring back across the country, and many Americans are experiencing rising wages. And that's a very good thing. We also know Americans are facing rising costs, and the President and the Congress must use every tool at our disposal to reduce price increases that come from what I call the 4 Ps: Putin's war, pandemic bottlenecks, price gouging, and politics. On the politics front, we must point out that Republicans in the Senate are using the filibuster to block our efforts to reduce the price of prescription drugs and to cut the costs of childcare and clean energy. Elections are about drawing contrasts. What do we stand for? What do Republicans stand for? As President Biden is fond of saying, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And the alternative is a Republican Party that wants to provide even more tax cuts to the super wealthy at the expense of everybody else. It's a Republican Party that rigged the Senate rules to stack the Supreme Court with right-wing justices who are now imposing their ideology on the country against the will of the American people. It's a Republican Party that continues to be in bed with the NRA despite the epidemic of gun violence. And it's a Republican Party that is complicit in Trump's ongoing attack on our democracy. As we head into the midterms, we must hold Republicans accountable for packing the Supreme Court with justices hell-bent on stripping Americans of their rights, like the decision to overrule the 50-year precedent of Roe v. Wade. The American people don't want politicians intruding in their most personal, private decisions. So we need to mobilize Americans throughout the country so we have the votes in the House and the Senate to pass a federal law guaranteeing the reproductive rights the court just stripped away. In fact, Congressman Sarbanes and Jamie Raskin and the House Democrats already passed such a measure. It's called the Women's Health Protection Act, and I'm a proud co-sponsor of that bill. But when we tried to bring it up for a vote in the Senate, it was blocked by a Republican filibuster. Which brings me to my final point. We need to abolish or amend the anti-democratic filibuster rule that requires a supermajority of 60 out of 100 votes to end debate on any matter. Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans have repeatedly used that supermajority rule to block votes on a host of important measures passed by John and Jamie and the House. Among the most important of those are bills to protect our democracy, the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. As you know, in the wake of the big lie, Republicans are changing election rules in states that they control to make it harder for people of color and younger voters to access the ballot box. That's an outrage, and we had all 50 Democratic senators supporting the bills to establish fair national standards to ensure equal access to the ballot box. But the Republicans blocked them with the filibuster rule. And one of the many reasons the 2022 elections are so important is that we need to elect 2 more Democratic senators who will join 48 of us in getting rid of the supermajority filibuster rule and restoring some semblance of democracy to the Senate. So the stakes could not be higher. We face an existential threat to our democracy from today's Republican Party. Thank you to Jamie Raskin for serving on the January 6th committee and bringing the truth to the American people about the insurrectionist in chief, Donald Trump. And we must fight autocracy from Moscow to Mar-a-Lago and defeat these anti-democratic forces up and down the ballot box. In Howard County, that begins with re-electing John Sarbanes, who has been a key leader in the fight to pass the Freedom to Vote Act. It means electing a Democrat as governor and to other statewide offices. It means electing our Howard County Democratic team to the General Assembly and the County Council and other local offices. Very importantly, it means re-electing County Executive Calvin Ball, who has so ably steered Howard County through the pandemic and who's been a fantastic partner for those of us working at the federal level. And I would be remiss if I didn't also ask you for your vote for re-election to the United States Senate. So I ask for your continued support. In short, Howard County Democrats, we need a huge turnout to make Maryland all blue in 2022.
Wise words from our U.S. Senator, Chris Van Hollen. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. I hope everyone heard his message on the filibuster. We got to get to work, y'all. The times are dire. Now it's more important than ever. Okay, I am excited, folks, for why you all bought your dinners and sponsorships. The man with the plan. Please welcome our keynote speaker for this evening, proudly representing Maryland's 8th Congressional District, a returning member of the House Judiciary Committee, the Committee on Oversight and Reform, Committee on House Administration, leading the Senate impeachment trials of President Trump, a accomplished author. We just can't thank him enough for his time, his support of Howard County Democrats. U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin, sir, thank you for being here. The floor is yours, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. I'm grateful to you for this great award and for the honor of being able to be your keynote speaker. Thank you for bestowing upon me this hour and 45 minutes to give you this speech. Actually, no, I've got to go on Chris Hayes at 8 o'clock, so I don't know what time it is now, but that's how long my keynote speech will be. Unfortunately, I think I've got 12 minutes, something like that. But look, you know, Senator Van Hollen just did such a great job of laying out where we are. Let me underscore a few points before I talk about what I think we need to do. One is, this is an illegitimate Supreme Court. You know, my constituent, your fellow Marylander, the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, was nominated in March of 2016 to the U.S. Supreme Court by President Obama. And Mitch McConnell refused to conduct even a hearing. He didn't allow the Senate Judiciary Committee to even have a hearing, saying, well, it's 10 months before the election, and so we want to let the people decide in the presidential election. Well, the people decided in the 2012 presidential election for a full 4-year term for President Obama. And Obama nominated Merrick Garland, and they did not give the chief judge of the DC Circuit Court of Appeals even a hearing, saying 10 months was way too close to an election to conduct a hearing and a confirmation process for a Supreme Court justice. But then 4 years later, with the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they rammed through the nomination of Mrs. Waterford, Amy Coney Barrett, with just a few weeks to go before the November election in October. In fact, people had already started to vote in early elections. So that's just one sign of a profoundly illegitimate and compromised Supreme Court. We see the way that Clarence Thomas cast the lone dissenting vote, 8-1, in Donald Trump versus Benny Thompson, suing our committee to try to stop us from getting public materials under Trump's utterly fraudulent, not surprising, but utterly fraudulent claims about executive privilege. And one justice went for it, Clarence Thomas, whose wife was, shall we say, involved in trying to lobby the chief of staff to the president of the United States about blocking Joe Biden from becoming president. And I think somebody needs to mute, unless you're trying to shout me down. So we've got an illegitimate Supreme Court now on a rampage, on an absolute rampage, striking down New York's concealed carry gun bill, which is closely analogous to Maryland's law. New York's law and Maryland's law are closely analogous, requiring people to offer a special reason why they need to carry a concealed weapon. And now they're establishing that as a presumptive right of every person in the country. The abortion bill overturned a half century, more than a half century of precedent to destroy the constitutional right to privacy as applied to women making a decision about abortion. Essentially, turning the clock back for many decades on the equal rights and the equal freedoms of women to participate in the society, in the economy. It's a shocking thing they've done. Now, they dramatically, in West Virginia versus EPA, drastically clipped the wings of the Equal Protection Agency, striking down the ability to impose caps on carbon emissions in the country. I mean, in this totally restrictive Steve Bannon-style war on the administrative state, the court may have inflicted lasting damage on our ability to fight climate change in the country, because we know that they're going to use the filibuster in the Senate to stop us from getting anything done legislatively until we get enough senators to overcome the filibuster. And then ominously, they also took up another case today out of North Carolina called Moore versus Harper, which would allow the conservatives on the court, Alito and Barrett and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch and Thomas and maybe Roberts, to declare the independent state legislature doctrine, essentially saying that state Supreme Courts and administrative agencies in the state can exercise no power over elections in states. It's always finally up to the state legislature. And we know that's something that they've been gunning to do in presidential elections, but they want to allow gerrymandered GOP state legislatures to have the final say on anything related to elections, even if the state itself, legislature itself, as in North Carolina, delegated that decision to the state Supreme Court. And that's a case where the state Supreme Court struck down an extreme partisan gerrymander that benefited the Republicans and hurt the Democrats. So of course, the Trump court is going to pluck it up and then proclaim this independent legislature doctrine, which in the field of the Electoral College will be an absolute nightmare for democracy in America. It will be accomplishing through judicial means what the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and Donald Trump tried to accomplish through coup and insurrection on January 6th. So we are in a very dire situation with this Supreme Court, and we are in a dire situation with democracy. You know, the political scientists tell us that the key characteristics of authoritarian and fascist parties all over the world and throughout history are: one, they reject the results of democratic elections, and two, they embrace or refuse to denounce political violence as a means of obtaining power. So you can see that the work of the January 6th Select Committee is centrally important to our ability to defend the institutions, the practices, and the values of American democracy. So I'm honored to be able to receive, the ability to speak to you and to receive this high honor that you sent to me in the mail, which is already up on the wall in my office in the Rayburn House office building. I send love and solidarity and gratitude to all of my friends in Howard County, and I thank you for everything you are doing.
Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you, sir. We know you got to run, but we just want to honor you the right way, sir. Before you head out, please welcome our corresponding secretary, Mr. Gabriel Moreno, to just properly give you that award, sir. Mr. Moreno, before Congressman has to go.
Thank you. All right, I'll try to be very quick. Good evening. My name is Gabriel Moreno. I'm the corresponding secretary. I just want to share that when Shahan asked if I wanted to award Congressman Raskin with the Elijah E. Cummings Defender of Democracy Award, I was very excited, as I know everyone enjoys when one lawyer gives another lawyer an award. I will say the Congressman and I are good lawyers, or rather lawyers that do good. We both dislike Trump, so that's good. And we both fought against Trump and continue to do so in our own ways. Me, as some of you know, dealing with immigration, family separation since summer 2018 with my international legal nonprofit, and the Congressman being on the front lines in DC, part of which culminated to him taking the lead on impeaching Trump. Seeing the recent January 6 hearings, I'm proud to see the Congressman's presence as a majority committee member. Who better than a constitutional scholar like the Congressman to be there, not only representing our great state, but the American people, the US Constitution, and our democracy. As you've heard the Congressman speak here tonight, and I'm surprised that he didn't quote Thomas Paine. He knows how to quote Thomas Paine with much ease. He speaks the truth regarding the beauty and the fragility of our democracy. And with that truth, he energizes those around him to do everything they can to help preserve our democracy and our way of life. It should be clear that fascism is lined with people telling you to stop overreacting. How many of us had friends, neighbors, and relatives tell us when Trump was elected, it won't be so bad? He's currently not even in office anymore, and we are aware of the things that are going on, and they're not going so well for many of us. More so today, as conservatism recent victory in violating reproductive rights and Clarence Thomas' concurring opinion, opening the door to go after substantive due process rights. The Constitution was written to protect people. I say that again, the Constitution was written to protect people, to give people the right to their privacy. Love who you want to love, communicate that love as you choose, and give our sisters their bodily autonomy. Recently, the Congressman shared that he will be introducing a resolution affirming the fundamental right for those needing interstate travel for the purposes of obtaining medical care in their destination states. The Congressman continues to fight for us, and we stand with him united, the same way we stood united with our late statesman, another bastion of leadership in Congress, Elijah E. Cummings. And for this, I am honored to present Congressman Jamie Raskin with the Elijah E. Cummings Defender of Democracy Award. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Raskin to speak again fairly quickly. He has about 2 minutes before he has to go on television. Thank you.
Well, thank you for those beautiful words. I think about Elijah all the time. And I told this story, Gabriel, in my book, Unthinkable, about Elijah, where that they asked me to go on the Rules Committee. I live really close to the House, and their late nights and their early mornings. And so they asked me to go on the Rules Committee, and I went to talk to Elijah, and I thought, well, maybe I could take a break from the Oversight Committee, because I doing Judiciary and House Admin. I was on the COVID-19 Committee. I had a lot going on. And Elijah looked at me and he said, Raskin. And I said, yeah. He said, why would you want to do that? And I said, well, no, I love the Oversight Committee. You know how committed I am to it, but I'm just really busy. He said, Raskin, he said, you're never too busy to be doing what you ought to be doing. And I said, thank you, sir. And I kind of skulked off, and that was it. And so that's why people say, how come I'm on more committees than any other member of the House? Because of Elijah Cummings. That's why, because you're never too busy to be doing what you ought to be doing. And so that's why I'm on whatever 5 committees and I do live close to the House, so I can get down there. And remember that from Elijah Cummings. You're never too busy to be doing that which you ought to be doing. And right now, what all of us ought to be doing is fighting like true blue Howard County Democrats as patriots for democratic institutions and values all over the country. And we've got a handful of good Republicans and a lot of great independents and libertarians and Greens fighting with us. But the Democratic Party is the party of democracy in America. That is who we are. We are the party of democracy. Never forget it. And whatever imperfections or flaws we may have, and we're not perfect, never forget that we are the party of democracy and freedom in America. I yield back to you guys, and I thank you so much for this glorious award. I don't deserve it, but I will work the rest of my life to deserve it. I appreciate it so much.
Congressman Jamie Raskin, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, sir. Good luck on television and congrats
Thank you.
for your award, sir. All right, moving on. Next up, please welcome our lovely Central Committee member, Dr. Lillian Norris Holmes, to give a bit of an intro about our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Maryland Attorney General Brian Frosh. Dr. Lillian Holmes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Sean. And thank you, Congressman Raskin, our elected officials, and our special guests for dining with us tonight. The Howard County Central Committee seeks to honor elected officials who have dedicated and exhibited a lifelong achievement in public services, constituent services, grassroots advocacy, and has made an impact on the quality of life for their communities and all their Marylanders. So tonight, I am honored to present the 22 Howard County Democratic Central Committee Award to the Honorable Attorney General Brian Frost, who announced last October that he would not seek a third term. And I'm sure that saddened many of us, because Attorney Frost is a very good friend to all of us. His political career expands as a state delegate and a state senator. He is a friend to the environment. He's a friend to the laws protecting domestic abuse, laws against gun violence, child support, public education, energy, voters registration, and much, much more. Unfortunately, Attorney General Brian Frost is unable to be with us tonight. So I would like for each of you to join me in viewing a very powerful video from Attorney General Brian Frost.
Good evening, Howard County Democrats. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person this year. Marcy and I had an unbreakable commitment for this evening, long-standing. I want to say thanks, though. And first, I want to say thanks for the great work that the Howard County Democratic Party has done. Shahan and the Central Committee have done a fantastic job of electing Democrats. Calvin Ball is a great county executive. He has a great council and an outstanding legislative delegation. I also want to say thank you very much for the award. It means a great deal to me. As you know, when I first ran for Attorney General, I told you I was running because I wanted to be the people's lawyer. I wanted to protect Marylanders, to improve their lives and deliver justice. And I found the Attorney General's office a very effective tool in those tasks. I wanted to give you a short summary of what we've done so far this year. First, we wrote and sponsored the Ghost Guns law that your legislators have just enacted into law. Second, we're defending in the Supreme Court the assault weapons ban that Jamie Raskin and I fought hard to get passed in 2013 in the wake of the massacre at Newtown. We're also fighting to protect Maryland's concealed carry law. That's on appeal in the Fourth Circuit. We're fighting to hold accountable Westminster Management and other landlords. Westminster is a management company owned in large part by Jared Kushner, and they've cheated their tenants, and they have overcharged them on fees. They have forced them to live in conditions where they have mice and rats and roaches and floods and continuous leaks. We are investigating, as you probably know, police-involved fatalities all over the state. We had to go to court last month. Sheriff Gaylor from Harford County was interfering with one of our investigations of one of his deputies. He got smacked down by the Harford County Circuit Court. We filed a series of charges this year. We've charged folks for abusing vulnerable adults, for sexually abusing minor children, for felony Medicaid fraud. We have charged home builders and furniture makers for taking deposits and failing to deliver the goods. Our organized crime unit has filed charges against a number of different gangs, one in which we found them in possession of heroin, of guns, of 5.5 kilograms of fentanyl. That's enough fentanyl, literally, to kill 5.5 million people. We charged another gang for murdering 2 brothers who were members of a rival gang, and in a second double homicide, gang members who killed one of their own and the Uber driver who brought him to their address. We've entered into a number of settlements this year. Coons Kia was advertising one price and then charging customers a different price. They're going to have to pay back all of those overcharges. We settled with TurboTax. They were supposed to provide free services to many Marylanders. They charged them, they're going to have to pay back $2 million. We got a $1.85 billion settlement with other attorneys general across the country against Navient, a student loan servicer. They were putting students into loans that required higher interest payments that benefited Navient, but not the students. And we just settled a case with Ford Motor Company for misrepresenting the qualities of their hybrids and their pickup trucks. They're going to pay the state $1 million. We've also entered into some very large opioid settlements. First, with the opioid distributors and Johnson & Johnson. In the aggregate, they are going to pay Maryland $400 million that we will use for opioid abatement. In the second, the Purdue-Sackler bankruptcy case, the Sacklers wanted to pay money into court. They offered $4.3 billion and leave free of liability. I was one of 9 attorneys general who objected to the bankruptcy plan. We fought it in court, and ultimately, the Sacklers settled by agreeing to put in another $1.7 billion. And Maryland will see $140 million out of that settlement. That's what we've done so far in 2022 in about 5.5 months. I can promise you that we are going to continue to fight like hell all the way through next January. So let me say thank you again. I deeply appreciate the award, but I appreciate even more the outstanding work that you do as Democrats. Please keep it up.
Doesn't that just tug at your heart? Play it again. We shall miss you, Attorney General Frosh. We will miss you dearly. I'm going to show the award. I hope I have it right side up. And I'm just going to hold on to it. Seriously, we're going to return it to Shahan so he and Attorney Brian Frosh can receive this over coffee. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Dr. Lillian Norris Holmes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that great introduction. Thank you, Attorney General Brian Frosh. No, he couldn't be with us, but he was so kind to do that amazing, amazing video. We just thank him so much. And he is our HCDCC Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. And we're just so delighted to award him that. Okay, next up, we're moving into our Service to Democracy Awards. Please welcome Central Committee members Jackie Scott and Kim Pezza for our next segment.
Thank you, Shahan. It gives me great pleasure this evening to present our Service to Democracy Awards. These awards are really to honor Howard County's community leaders who embody the excellence in political campaign awareness, strategic design, public affairs, community organizing, club engagement, and really grassroots advocacy. We really seek to, with these awards, recognize individuals who have significantly contributed to the longstanding values and traditions of the Democratic Central Committee and to the success of the candidates who embody our values. These award winners this evening are the very best of our community leaders and Democratic volunteers Howard County has to offer. And this evening we have 4 awardees. So it gives me great pleasure to present the first award to Cynthia Fikes. Cynthia is finishing up her first year as the powerful president of the Columbia Democratic Club. And she is a tremendous volunteer in our community. She serves as a trustee on the Howard County Conservancy. She's a member of the Howard County branch of the NAACP and is multi-talented as she is a soprano at Mount Pisgah AME Church. She serves there. Now, you know, the interesting thing is, you may not know it, but Cynthia is and has been a Howard County resident for most of her life. She went to school here in Columbia, K through 12, even though she was originally from Southern California. Today, she lives here with her now grown children who are now abroad living successfully in Germany. She has dedicated her life to them. She is a fierce advocate for our young people, not just her own, but all of ours. She is dedicated to this community, and she is one who focuses on helping community members understand issues and participate in elections. She brings her experience as a powerful negotiator, communicator, and collaborator. And if you know Cynthia, truly an idea maker, and truly one who seeks to get it done. She's a bridge builder, and she can spearhead an initiative at the snap of your fingers. She gets it done. She truly cares. And, you know, many people use this phrase these days. You hear it a lot. They quote Shirley Chisholm, and they, you know, her quote that says, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring your own folding chair. Well, my friends, if you know anything about Cynthia Fikes, you know that Cynthia not only will bring her own folding chair, she will bring her own table and waste no time in setting it up and moving things forward. So it is with great pleasure that I present this award for service to democracy to Cynthia Fikes. Congratulations, Cynthia.
Wow. Okay, Jackie, my friend, and everyone. I guess I'm supposed to hold it up now. So thank you. Double made sure I got it the other night. Thank you all so much. I appreciate the consideration and the support. That's all I'll say, and all of the hard work. So let's get it done in election 2022. Thanks.
Congratulations, Cynthia. Hi, I'm Kim Pezza-Drake on the Howard County Central Committee, and I'm pleased to be introducing to you all James Hanley, the current president of the Delegate City and Western Democratic Central Club. He's a former armor and cavalry officer in the U.S. Army and Iraq and Afghan war veteran. After honorable discharge, he attended the Maryland Law School, where he represented clients in the Access and Justice Bail Clinic. James now practices employment law and civil litigation at a law firm in Washington. His pro bono efforts focus on veteran support, participating in the Wills for Heroes program, which provides estate planning documents for veterans and first responders, and immigration law, where he represents families seeking asylum from gang violence. James lives with his wife and their child in Ellicott City, and they are all involved in local politics, volunteering for state and local Democrats, running the local Democratic Club, and founding Inspire Young Voters, which registers first-time young voters in the county. And they will be door knocking and going blue in 22. So thank you, James, for your work on the club and the Ellicott City Club, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, our son got his first vaccine dose yesterday. So, a month from now, we'll be starting to move out there and knock on some doors. So thank you for this award. Thank you for the recognition from the Central Committee. It's an honor to be included with esteemed company, Pat, Cynthia, and Megan. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, James. So the next awardee has a special place in my heart. Our next awardee is Pat Thomas. Pat serves currently as the president of the Thurgood Marshall Democratic Club. And as a founding member of that club, it gives me great pleasure to be able to present this award. And if you know Pat, you know that words like dedication, steadfastness, commitment, and humility are great words that describe her. Pat she was born and raised in Washington, D.C. She's a graduate of the District of Columbia's Teachers College and of the Johns Hopkins University. As a Democratic leader here in the county, she has knocked on countless doors. She has been an activist. She has done phone banking. She really does what she needs to do to keep the support of Democrats and getting Democrats elected. And she is a fierce advocate for keeping the Thurgood Marshall Democratic Club on the map, making sure they are not forgotten and making sure that they also too have a seat at the table. And the humility at which Pat serves as a leader is inspiring to all of us. So it gives me great pleasure to present this award to you, Pat. Congratulations. You are indeed, exuding the service to democracy here in our county. Pat.
Thank you so much. It is a great honor to receive this award, and I'm really receiving it in the name of the Thurgood Marshall Democratic Club, because without the foresight of Michael McPherson, Ethel Hill, and Delegate Terry Hill, Thurgood Marshall would not have been created. And I am so honored to be able to put my passion behind what I believe. Democracy is not a spectator sport at all. And at Thurgood Marshall, we believe it, we work it, and we do it. We educate, advocate, and participate. And 2022 is going to be blue. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Pat. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate Megan Williams. Megan has been a lifelong Democrat and a Howard County native. She graduated Hammond High School and the University of Maryland College Park. Over the last 2.5 years, she has served our community as Constituent Services Liaison for the Howard County Executive, President of the Howard County Young Democrats, member of the NAACP Climate and Environmental Justice Committee. That's my girl. In her role as president, she established a book scholarship to help students cover the cost of higher education. This fall, she's leaving Howard County to begin a master's program in community development at the University of California, Davis, where no doubt books will be expensive. Thank you, Megan. And I appreciate her. She always invited me to those meetings, even though I'm a little bit older than the young Dems. And I appreciate all of your service, Megan. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Kim. And hey, everyone is a young Dem at heart. So no matter the age, you're always a young Dem. I just want to say thank you so much, everybody. I'm heading off on this journey, but it's really been a journey these past 2.5 years. And I feel strange being a person getting an award that next to Pat and James and Cynthia. They continue to do amazing work. And so many people on this call have not only supported me, but supported Young Dems. So I just want to say thank you. And I will miss you all so much. And thank you for everything that you continue to do. Thank you.
Please come back.
All right, congratulations to all of our award winners. They've all been excellent, excellent club presidents. The work of this Central Committee could not be done without the support of our clubs. We just thank all these exceptional community leaders. Thank you for the great work you've done for Howard County, and we look forward to the great work ahead. And next, now that our award ceremony is concluded, I'd like to wrap it up with a few more speakers. I am just so delighted and honored to welcome our next speaker, the good delegate from District 46, Delegate Brooke Lierman, currently a candidate for MD Comptroller. If successful in the primary, could be the first woman elected to statewide office, and that would be quite an accomplishment to see. Just an extremely great friend to Howard County. In fact, I'm not convinced she doesn't live here because she's in Howard County all the time, supporting our clubs, coming to Central Committee events. Her father's along the way too. Terry is just a great friend of our Central Committee. We just can't thank the Lierman family enough for all the great work they've done, the selfless work they've done in the benefit of Howard County Democrats. Please welcome Delegate Brooke Lierman, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here with all of you. I have to confess, I'm actually not in Howard County right now. I'm in Frederick, but that is because I'm so committed to running a 24 county campaign and getting all over the state. So today I have been in 3 different jurisdictions for different events and ending my night in Frederick, but because of the magic of Zoom, I get to be with you all. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your leadership. You all are like second to none. You're incredible at what you do. And the presidents, you all are amazing. I'm so glad that you were honored tonight because the work that you do is you are really unsung heroes. So I'm so grateful. Congratulations to all the award winners tonight, including, of course, our Attorney General, Brian Frosh, Cynthia, James, Pat, Megan. You're all doing great work. I have one of my fondest memories in Howard County is standing out in the freezing cold with Pat, doing a sign wave, encouraging people to get out and vote for Biden and Harris. It's great to see you. You know, democracy is under attack, right? And we all know that. We had Congressman Raskin explain that to us. And just today, the Supreme Court decided to take up a North Carolina case that's a real threat to ensuring the results of free and fair elections are not tampered with by extremist right-wing politicians and state legislatures. And so the focus of defending democracy, it's really about to go into overdrive in state capitals across the nation. And, you know, I am of the belief that what we have to do, and I think you all know this, and this is why you do the work that you do, is we have to be strong in our state legislatures. We need state government now more than ever is the bulwark, right? It is protecting a woman's right to choose her own reproductive healthcare future. It is protecting our privacy, and it is all about what we can do as an election. I mean, even here in Maryland, our governor vetoed a bill that would have allowed election officials to tabulate vote by mail ballots early in order to release those numbers after the polls close on election night this year. And with that veto, he is deliberately maintaining delays in the system that will allow for mistrust and confusion to grow, right? I mean, I'm proud that although democracy is under attack across the country, in the General Assembly, you know, I see Delegate Hollen and Senator Guzzone and more, you know, we have not only held the line, but really advanced the cause of democracy, whether it's instituting same-day voter registration, our motor voter bill years ago, adding more polling sites, ensuring a no excuse needed to vote by mail option. You know, Maryland has really tried to lead the way. But there's always more to do. You know, we need to be able to tabulate mail votes early. We need to expand and discuss different ways of voting, whether it's ranked choice voting or more, and we need to get dark money out of politics here in the state. So all of this is really possible with Democratic majorities in the General Assembly. And we need to elect a Democratic governor, a Democratic attorney general, and Democrats at all other statewide and federal positions. So we have no time to waste. If Congressman Raskin has shown us anything, it's that the extreme lengths many will go to on the other side of the aisle to dispense with democracy when it does not suit their ends. I'm so proud to live in a state that elects Jamie Raskin to the United States Congress. You all are protectors of democracy. And the states are really the front lines, right? The states are the front lines, the bulwark of that defense. So thank you for all of the time and effort that you put into ensuring that we elect leaders who understand what's at stake. And I look forward to continuing to be there fighting beside you every step of the way. So I look forward to continuing to work with you to really build a better Maryland for everybody. Thank you.
The good delegate from District 46, Brooke Lierman, good luck on your race, man. We're all rooting for you, and just thank you for your support of Howard County Democrats. We really appreciate you. Okay, last but certainly not least, please welcome the good senator from District 13, the current chair of the State Senate Budget and Taxation Committee, a good friend and partner to Howard County Democrats. Give it up for our hometown hero, Guy's our guy. Please welcome Senator Guy Guzzone, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to be with you, even though it's remotely. Democracy, really, in its root sense, is just a system of government, right? A system of government where people with different ideas come together in society, where we hopefully work in a civilized way, in a respectful way, to deal with the challenges that face all of our communities. And, what we want to do, of course, in this democracy is build a place that we can all be proud of. We want to build a society that's fair and just. And that's just the root of it all. And the good news is, has been mentioned several times about what is happening in our state legislature. I really believe, and in particular our team from Howard County, the Democrats that we've elected, are an extraordinary bunch of folks who are doing a great job. But broadly speaking, the leadership and the members of the General Assembly, the Democratic members, have been working hard for many years to change society in the ways in which I believe I was just describing. A fairer, a more just. Is the world we're living in perfect? Of course not. But at least we want to try to make it that way. There are other forces out there, as we have seen dramatically over the last several years, almost coming out of the woodwork in some ways that we didn't really even completely understand the depth, maybe, of some of the division and some of the hatred and the willingness to tear apart the fabric of our society. But we know it. We all know it now. Back to the good news is, in the state legislature, and just like the Attorney General listed off a number of great things, we can list off a tremendous amount of accomplishments recently and over the course of even recent history that make our society a better place. We did a great climate bill this year, attacking the climate crisis. We passed marriage equality. We've managed to handle all kinds of gun control legislation. The ghost gun legislation was mentioned already, but I think something that may be forgotten, people don't know, is when the rest of society or the rest of the country is dealing with some of these issues, we have an assault ban already in place. We have handgun regulation. We've done criminal justice reform, healthcare expansion. We've done mental health expansion and dental care, and of course, access to choice, all huge things in the recent history. And of course, it's mentioned many times the importance of the changes that we've made in voting to make voting simpler. One of the biggest things that we've done, though, and I think this is root to our democracy, and as we think forward, and it's a long-term game plan. It was mentioned earlier about how we can't just think about our past successes. We have to think about the long term. And quite frankly, always always from the beginning of our country, there was always this sense that education played a huge role in informing people. Look, somehow in this country, we got a big divergence of education. And right now, it's even worse because of the negativity and the misinformation that we see on social media. We passed the blueprint. And, you know, I don't think it gets enough attention. I believe it was probably, maybe our generation's biggest civil rights and social justice piece of legislation, because we said every single child deserves a world-class education. And how are we going to make that happen? And embedded in that world-class education is an understanding of being part of society. It's about participating in society. Again, back to that idea of a respectful, a civilized society where you can come together and work on complicated problems and solve things together. You know, you do that when people hopefully get an objective education. The funding that we put in place for the blueprint and the implications of all the components from wraparound services and poverty programs and mental health care for students, all of that is embedded in there. And it's all because we want our democracy to succeed, because we want the next generation to do better than we did. All members of that next generation. Look, I hope you're proud of your team in Annapolis. I'm proud of them because every day we're thinking about all the different components that make up a more perfect society. And I believe we're accomplishing a great deal. There's more to do. And thank goodness we have the Central Committee and all the members on this call, the individuals who are interested enough to take the time to think about these issues, to realize that we're in this together and that we can succeed if we stick together and keep our eye on the prize, that more just society, that more decency that I know and I really believe in my heart is in the core of every human being. And if we need to figure out how to keep tapping into that, we'll find that opportunity as we keep working. This is an ongoing process that just never ends, but we're here, you're here, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be on your team and working with you all. I look forward to an incredibly successful election as we move into November, and more success in building that perfect society. Thank you all very much.
Senator Guy Guzzone, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, sir, for those impassioned words. You're doing a phenomenal job in Annapolis for us. It's why we keep electing you to represent us every year. So thank you, sir. We just truly, truly appreciate you. Thank you. Folks, we're winding down our evening. We're moving into our concluding remarks. I hope you enjoyed this amazing, amazing program in defending our democracy, but it doesn't just stop with speeches, folks. You know, the fight for democracy never ends. So how can you help? Here's what you need to do. Like our party page, Howard County Democratic Party on Facebook, like us on Instagram, visit us at hocodems.com, get in touch with your club presidents. Several of them are here on this call. Talk to them after. Reach out to Pat Thomas, reach out to Cynthia Fikes, reach out to Colin Sullivan, reach out to your club presidents to find out how can you make a difference today. We need you for the primary. We need you for the midterm. We need you to protect women's rights. This fight for democracy just does not end. And the reason it doesn't end is because we have ongoing challenges coming from Republicans. They just took out a 50-year precedent on Roe v. Wade. We don't know what is next, but we certainly know that if we start working now, we can guarantee and ensure we elect Democrats up and down the ballot. We need that governor's mansion blue. We need to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. It's vital to do this. You see, the fight for democracy just never ends. When the opposition is voter suppressed sin, draconian election laws, Filibuster the agenda without cause. Abortion rights being put on full pause. Roe v. Wade, they done tossed. Reconciliation exercises full of surprises, and they wonder why the people despise it when all we're trying to do is survive the inflation crisis. Climate change is real, but GOP rather drag their heels. How many more natural disasters will humanity have to master till Republicans realize cutting emissions matter? No appetite for political actors. We must all be factors or face consequences hereafter. 2022, be part of the change. Make sure your friends vote blue. Democrats the only party for reason, while the other side conducts treason each and every season. We're fighting for the salvation of our nation. No more time for demonstrations. We can't keep waiting. Let's get our governor blue for 2022. Vote Calvin Ball too. We got to push him through. Howard County Democrats, stand up and lead the way. The fight for democracy never ends. We need you back to save the day. Thank you, Howard County Democrats. We hope you enjoyed tonight's program. Thank you once again to our speakers, our sponsors. I'd like to now turn it over to our lovely co-chair, Ms. May Beal, for some final remarks. May? You on mute, honey.
Again, I was offered my profound thanks. And I now know that our country's future is in great hands as we move onward and upward. Please accept our appreciation for our keynote speaker, Jamie Raskin, and our speakers who shared their time, thoughts, and experiences regarding the importance and need to defend our democracy. Enjoy the remainder of your evening. Together we stand. Let's go blue in 2022.
Let's go blue in 2022, ladies and gentlemen.
Fired up, ready to go. Fired up, ready to go.
Fired up and ready to
Fired
go.
up.
Yep.
Right, Smith.
And
Folks,
thank
one more
everybody
time.
for coming. This has been a delightful night. And I thank everybody again and again. You makes my heart sing to see all the support that we have.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. We'll see you at the polls.
Let go.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
All right.